Hello out there, mongoose conservation friends. It's the 2nd of June 2024 here in the Meerkat Magic Valley Reserve of the Meerkat Magic Conservation Project. And just outside the Meerkat Mansion Research Base on this drizzly and overcast day, the dominant female from the Tsebokolodi Yellow Mongoose Group, Gakulu, has come to visit, and her burrow is about 2.3 kilometers away from here. Many juicy grubs, especially Coleoptera larvae, the beetle larvae, from tenebrionid beetles such as the toki beetle, are digging little holes in the soft soil. Gakulu quite often passes this area on the way to the olive trees. There you can see some of her foraging. Mongoose magic moments right here. I'm following her from a respectable distance so that I don't interfere with her digging. You can see it's a very cold day. It's probably around 16 degrees centigrade right now, which to me is cold because in summer it can go over 45 degrees centigrade here. Many different wild animals actually come past the drinking pond that I've made over here, including all the bees from the bee hotels. Klein Karoo Hienang, shout out to Eugene, the bee man, as I call him. The best organic raw honey you can get. Badger friendly, eco friendly. All right, what we have there is one of the mouse birds, and it's part of what I call the neighborhood watch. So potentially, and these are fructivores. Yeah, fructivores. Check the spelling on that. Fructivores. Yeah. Mouse birds here, we get the speckled specifically, and there are a few other bird species in this area that will quite often call, and these act as potential trigger alarms for meerkats and mongooses. Just seeing where she's headed. She's moved into the dense growth here, and I don't want to alarm her, which is another reason why I always make sounds whenever I'm approaching, because it masks the sound of my feet. But it also lets them know where I am at all times. Even if they cannot see me, they can hear me. So it's very important when with wildlife. I have been following this particular family group, and she's a member of it since 2008. It's a long time, gaining that very selective trust. And it's easy to lose that trust. There she is. So well camouflaged in this low light at the moment. Just have a little zoom in there, see what she's up to. Quite commonly, the ant bear, aardvark, Erycteropus affa, will also pass through the same area that she's walking in now, in search of various termite nests, which are abundant in this area. They're what I like to call termite vacuum cleaners on legs. Incidentally, you can follow on social media Mongoose Magic Moments on Facebook. It's a free group open to the public around the world for those interested in mongoose conservation and general reserve activities from myself, the meerkatman, the mongooseman. And you can also follow mongoose developments as they happen. I don't have a schedule. I post whenever I find something of interest and share it. Then, of course, there's the YouTube channel. You can just search for the Meerkat Man Mongoose Magic Moments, Meerkat Magic Moments. And, of course, you can follow Meerkat Magic Moments on Facebook too. It's a sister group. And then there's Instagram and TikTok as well. You can find me there easily. it's a rare treat to be able to see her in this area, because there are many places I don't know yet, secret locations of wildlife. Walk with wildlife, as I say. This is an unedited wildlife documentary. I have no idea what might develop as she moves through the area here. Alright, there's quite a steep drop here, and I don't plan to have a wipeout, because if I had to slip here, it could also disturb her. Any sudden or strange movements that they are not familiar with, when I say they, the wildlife that I work with, will cause them to be alarmed. Bear in mind, these animals are not fed, handled, or captured. There are no transmitters. There's no telemetry like BioTrack and Telonics. No artificial marks of any sort. This is a long-term demographic, population dynamic research project where I'm examining the mortality, the death rates, natality, the birth rates in the private reserve I own, with the objective of protecting the habitat for various wildlife species that occur here, especially the digging mammals, who often have their habitat plowed over without people even realizing they're destroying entire wildlife hotels, as I call them. You can check back on that. I've done many videos about the wildlife hotels over the years. It's quite interesting to see Gakulu here at the base. There you can see the huge antenna up on the roof, the tallest in this area, because in the distance, for those who don't know the reserve, there's a river system, and that is actually the river bank, way off that way. I'll just zoom out here, and way off that direction into the hills is the far river. So this is a massive, ancient, extinct riverbed system where I am now. However, there's still a river flowing through part of this area. So this is a cross section, you can see here, of soil, which is very compacted clay, like brick, kaolinite clay, and then we also have calcrete deposits, these white calcium deposits, which are typical of these ancient fossilized riverbed systems. You'll also find these up in the Kalahari Desert, my previous study site. Let's zoom on something there. The Nosob, the Ayob, and the Kuruman riverbed systems. Note how easy it is to spot her with the white tipped to her tail, and that's because yellow mongooses are also active at dawn and dusk, crepuscular, so they can be active during the daytime as well, diurnal and nocturnal. And there she goes. I certainly don't usually have videos with my house in the background. It's taken quite a beating with all the flooding from last year, 2023, and this year, 2024. Paint is washing off. It's very old. It's over 100 plus years old now. And it's a very simple place. Alright, a bit of an auto groom. That's when an animal grooms itself. Alright, she's heading past. Just tracking her through there. I'm going to use this opportunity to get up there. That's not easy. That's where Jim comes in, because that's lifting my body weight and my 6-foot+ frame up that very steep embankment over there, which is over 1 meter high, while filming and not falling over. And that's one of the reasons why it's very useful to be able to do gym. And there's the stone dojo. This is a rare view indeed. In fact, I don't think I've ever filmed the Tsebokolodi Yellow Mongooses with the stone dojo in the background. That's the hardy-dar ibis calling in the distance. The entire time I'm letting her know where I am. All right, a bit of a scent mark there against the tree. Very interesting. Now, I've never seen her use that particular tree as a marking post, so she's clearly demarcating her territory. And this is the only yellow mongoose group in the reserve area now. How very strange to be looking up towards a yellow mongoose. That's certainly a new experience for me after working with mongooses and meerkats for decades. Of course, yellow mongooses don't climb up into trees 4 or 5 meters high, as I have seen wild meerkats do on many occasions. And then the meerkats will stand up on guard in these trees and lower bushes as well for 2 or 3 hours quite commonly. The rainfall has brought a lot of different food items to the surface, and certainly, just like with the meerkats, it washes away the scent. Yes. Here we have a little potential warning. It's not uncommon for birds to tag along behind meerkats as well, potentially getting a snack from an ant colony that's been raided, and lots of pupa are then easy to get to for the birds. I've noticed Lanius calaris, the fiscal shrike, will quite commonly follow meerkats and mongooses, specifically Cynictis Penicillata here. When I say mongooses, because we have the water mongoose, Atelix pelodinosus, and Herpestes ichneumon, the Egyptian mongoose. And we've got the small grey mongoose. In fact, they live just behind the house here. There's 4 in that family. You might see them one of these days in the Facebook group. Look at that. It just goes, people go, oh yes, mongooses, meerkats attack and eat birds. This is not common. These are in fact part of the neighborhood watch as well. They are allies, because if the bird gets disturbed, it will alarm, and then the mongoose will get disturbed. The same goes in reverse. Look at that bit of foraging happening there. Also notice this bird is not alarming to me, because I've got the all is clear passport from Gakulu, the yellow mongoose. She is not alarming, and because she's part of the neighborhood watch, there's no reason for the bird to alarm. So I get to see things that a human would not usually get to see if you just had to walk into an area. Firstly, mongooses and meerkats won't allow anyone anywhere near them without the special codes that they learn to recognize, unless people have tamed them and fed them, which is, of course, not wildlife. This is tolerance. If I move now without calling, watch what happens. And immediately I can displace that, because this is exactly what will happen. Now, it's important not to tame animals, because it's very easy to tame an animal and very unethical to do so. By masking the sounds that we make as observers, we become trusted objects. It's a very selective tolerance. It's neuro-linguistic programming for my psychologist friends out there, NLP. Basically, you build a code for the animal's protection, which identifies a very trusted observer. It's not a code that should ever be abused. And it does not get the animals used to sounds, such as crunching twigs and scraping, etc., which predators could also make, which the animals need to stay vigilant over. There we go. Very, very quick larva grabbing there. And of course, various beetles. This really is an example of what I call mongoose magic moments right here. I've already followed her for 14 minutes in this video stream. Anything can happen. And there's that bird again. Very interesting. Just checking if anything might happen. Now, of course, if a mongoose comes across a terrestrial nesting bird, such as Vanellus coronatus, crown plover, or Vanellus armatus, blacksmith plover, even though those eggs are speckled and camouflaged, there are no challenge to just making sure I make these calls. I don't want her to get alarmed, see where she's going. There are no challenge to meerkats and mongooses because of their exceptional olfactory senses. They can smell things that are camouflaged. They don't have to use their sight to find things. Right, there she is. Again, not even a single look at me, and that's a displacement reassurance. That doesn't mean she's ignoring me, and this is something it's easy for people to misunderstand because they simply see the animal looking relaxed. Brrr, she's absolutely aware of my presence. I'm simply the trusted object that she knows, and I can lose this years and years and years of observation just by doing something foolish, by not being hyper alert all the time and moving, scaring her, and she'll associate me with that scare, and that will destroy the trust right there. She will then alarm to everybody else she knows, and I will not be able to get near any of them. That's why I have, there's a displacement. Each animal's tolerance towards that can be measured. When working with groups of 20 plus meerkats, it's exceedingly challenging because you need to watch everybody. All right, look at this. Porcupine dung, what I call bush cook sisters for South African viewers. Twisted plaited doe or vegan cook sister. Yeah, it's been here overnight. This is fresh. Porcupine, Hystrix africae australis. Stegelvark for Dutch viewers. Stachelschwein, our German viewers. All right, Eystervark, the iron pig. I love that name. Eyster is iron, vark is pig. All right, she's seen something in the distance. The Hardida ibis, Bostrichia haggedash, a very scientific name. I prefer the onomatopoeic name Hardida ibis. Ha ha ha. They are not an alarm bird for the mongooses or the meerkats. However, they can make a lot of sound which can disturb animals around them. All right, see, she's pretty much doubled back. Let's change her route. It took me years before I could get closer to them. Meerkats and mongooses. Again, if one is alarmed, all of them will be alarmed. All right, she's seen something again, standing up. Now, it's easy to be mistaken and think there was another scent mark very quickly. That mongooses and meerkats are simply out in the open. All around them, there are escape tunnels known as bolt holes. Basically, one or two entrances or exits. All right, we haven't seen any alarm behavior from her. Alarm behavior would be puffing up of the tail. The tail's position has a lot of different meanings, depending on how it's held. Dragged along the ground is pretty typical, as with the meerkats. But unlike with the meerkats, when the tail is held vertically with them and puffed up, that's alarm. Yellow mongooses have an S bend in their tail, basically like that. When they're running and they're alarmed, they'll puff their tails up like a cat. Again, Cynictis Penicillata here, bit of anatomy, very fine hair like a cat, and that's why she can afford to be out even in this light drizzle, because her hair basically just allows the water to pretty much run off her. Hair under her feet, it's like wearing socks. Meerkats don't have hair underneath their feet like this, so their feet can lose heat easily, but that is a big disadvantage as well if it gets very cold or wet, and that's why you won't see meerkats walking around in the rain and drizzle. They'll just take what I call a day off, and then they'll be extremely hungry the next day or next few days, depending on how long they're trapped in a burrow. And then they'll come out and move great distances to re-scent mark everything, because again, the scent mark needs to be reapplied. every day in an area. So a rainfall washes that away, and it results in wars. So meerkats will run off suddenly the next day after the rainfall to go and remark their territories. Yellow mongooses do it too. They're longer term scent posts where they dig holes and deposit dung and urine. And these can be on range overlaps with other meerkat groups, other mongoose groups. All right, I'm being very careful because she's around here. And there she is, just hopping up. Tsebokolodi. I've got various codes, some that nobody else except the mongooses and I know. They can never be abused. I can use a sound to call over another sound that may have disturbed them. I've used displacement reassurance gestures as well with chimpanzee in Kibale Rainforest, Uganda, when I was there back in 1997. All right, she's decided to pick up the pace now. Something is definitely making her a lot more curious. Let's see where she goes. I don't know this route. Brief look at me. All right, there's God. Look at that, the Stone Dojo. Amazing. And yellow mongoose. Mongoose Magic Moments meets the Stone Dojo Gym. Outdoor gym, martial arts dojo, eco gym. Latergansvlei, Utser and Western Cape of South Africa. For all my friends around the world who have visited me, you'll know where this is. Let's just take a little view. It's a beautiful day today. All right, I'm going to leave her now and head back to the base. Covered quite a bit of distance already, walking around over there and around and around and around and around. Now I know that she scent marks this tree. And there's another scent mark area there. All right, I'm going to head in because it's starting to drizzle a bit more. She's probably looking for shelter. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Remember, please like, subscribe, share on all the social media. It helps. Thank you.